up, Fabs and Besties? I'm still looking for something purple to wear to this event I have to go to, like, now. I guess I'm just gonna have to make something. But I have no time! We need something quick. I have this purple fabric, it's kind of shiny. I bought half a yard, but I already experimented with the nice section of it, so we have less to work with. So maybe we should experiment with a different fabric. We are sewing without a pattern, so I lay out my fabric and let's measure 5 inches by 6.5 and cut a rectangle. I'm hoping this is enough material to wrap all the way around the doll, be able to turn the edges under for a seam allowance, and overlap for Velcro. The first thing I am going to do is sew a zigzag stitch around the whole thing to stop it from unraveling. I try my best to make my thread match my fabric, then sew a zigzag going around the edge. Let's fold over and hem the top and bottom. My hem is about 1/4 inch. I ironed it down, sew a straight stitch next to the fold. Repeat for the bottom. Fold over the sides 1/4 inch and hem them as well, using a straight stitch. When I wrap it around the doll, I have a little too much material. It looks like we're over by about 1/2 inch. So we should actually cut our rectangle to 5 inches by 6 inches. Let's see if it will fit a curvy. Nope, we're a little short by about 1/2 inch. So a curvy's probably 7 inches. Let's go ahead and reduce the size by 1/4 inch because we still need a seam allowance. And this is why we did a test run. Let's zigzag the edge, fold it over 1/4 inch, then sew a straight line. Cut a 1/4 inch strip of Velcro, sew one piece to the inside edge. I sew around all 4 sides of the Velcro, then flip it over, then sew the other half of the Velcro on the outside opposite edge. Put it on the doll to see if it fits, and yay, it does! It just doesn't have a ton of shape. Place it on the doll, inside out, then I use a needle and thread in a lighter color so I can see it, pinch the fabric under the bust, and make a little bit of a crease, then sew a loose stitch following the shape of the doll's body to make darts. I made mine a lighter color so I can go back with my sewing machine and then remove these threads. However, if you want to sew it by hand, just use a thread that matches. I still have a little bit of space here on the sides, so we're going to add a few darts to the back. I added 2 to the back, and now our dress has a nice little shape. I remove it from the doll, then use my sewing machine to slowly sew next to the stitches. Tie and knot the loose threads, remove the little tailoring stitches, and hopefully you didn't hit any of them with the sewing machine, because then that makes it a lot harder to remove. Yeah, I might have hit one. But now we have a very neat little seam. Repeat for the other darts. The only thing I am concerned about is that I sewed on the outside of my little tailor line. So my darts are actually a little tighter than what I originally did. So if you sew on the inside, they're going to be a little looser. If you sew on the outside, they're going to be a little tighter. So have that in mind when hand stitching your darts. But it worked! It has a decent fit, and I would say it took less than an hour to make. Let's use a coordinating fabric to add a little something extra. I take a long rectangle of fabric, fold it in half, then take the folded side, go to the corner, and we're going to take it to the opposite corner. So we've made like a little bit of a triangle. Cut it on a curve, cut the center, open it up once, cut down the fold. So we have 2 quarter circles. Cut a 5-inch strip that's about 1¼ inches wide. This fabric likes to fray, so I'm going to sew a zigzag stitch around everything. This is just a personal preference for me. Let's take the quarter circles and place them side by side with the good side facing up. Lay one on top of the other, lining up the edge, Sew a straight line connecting them that starts about 1/4 of the way down, so it is still open at the top. Fold over and hem the sides, then fold over a bottom hem. I used an iron to help hold it down. Sew a straight stitch, clean up any loose threads to make it nice and neat. Rookie mistake! I should have attached the waistband before I sewed the back. That's okay, we can fix it. Take the rectangle we cut for the waistband, fold it in half, use an iron to press it flat, then open it up, fold over the edges just a little, then fold it back in half so all the raw edges are inside. You could use a seam ripper to just go back down the edge, or you can try and figure this out. I'm going to fold the band in half so we can find the center point, which is right about there. And then we're going to take the edge that is hemmed and we're going to place it onto that little center fold that we just did, and we're going to put it inside of the band like that, and it'll look good on both sides. When it's all laid out, it will look something like this. The waistband is only going to be sewn onto one of the sides, and this is the hemmed edge at the middle. I use pins to hold everything in place, and if the skirt is longer than the part of the waistband, well, you can just gather it or pleat it to make it fit. Now I'm going to take the other side and we're going to do the same thing on the other end of the waistband. So we have a large skirt with an opening in the front. Sew a straight line at the bottom of the waistband. Yay! It worked! Go to the back, add Velcro, folding over one of the sides before sewing it on. And you're going to want to size that to your doll to make sure it's a snug fit. To complete a detachable skirt that can be added to our simple dress, I need to move the Velcro over a little because it's a little loose around the waist. So I think we'll make the waistband a little bit smaller next time. You gotta be okay with making a few mistakes when experimenting, or at least learn how to cover them up. I need it to be a little more fitted at the waist. I cut a 5.5-inch square. Let's fold it in half, sew down the edges and along the back with about a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, leaving an opening so it can be turned inside out. Sew the opening closed, gather the center, wrap the thread around the middle a few times, and then tie a knot. Stitch it on to the center of the waistband, and maybe we can just position the bow so it points down a little, adding another layer to our dress and giving us a new look. So here it is, 2 dresses in one. Okay, I'm feeling pretty confident. I think we can try the other fabric. Now this fabric is a little thinner and it's a little silkier, so yeah. Let's try to make the skirt a little longer. So instead of a 5x6, let's go with a 6.5x6. I cut out my rectangle and I already zigzagged the edge. Let's try something a little different with that top hem. I cut another strip that is 6 inches wide and probably about 1 inch thick. Let's fold it in half, line up the raw edges with the top of the dress. I'm gonna place it so that this is the wrong side and this is the right side. And we're gonna line those up. Sew a straight line going across the top. I did a double line because I missed a few of the stitches the first time. All right, now we're gonna just flip this over the edge like so and iron it down. So that's giving us a really nice edge at the top, and we'll have a little detail at the neckline. It doesn't really want to lay down, but hopefully when we fold over and hem the sides, that will help. Fold under and hem the bottom, fold over and hem the sides, add the Velcro and the darts, And let's add a few darts at the bottom to just taper it a little. Not too bad. It's classy and simple, but what if we want to make it formal? Let's cut a large circle from the remaining fabric, zigzag stitch along the edge. I went around once, twice, then 3 times. It made a nice little curl on the ends, and this fabric is the same on both sides. So I'm just gonna pinch it, not in the center, but a little off center, creating a little cascade of folds. Sew on a snap, sew the other end to the back of the dress to make a train that is removable. And it's a nice size train. It's a pretty simple design with a little glam. Let's make another bow, gather it, wrap it with thread to make the bow, sew on a snap so we can add it to the back for another option. All right, I now have more than enough options for the Purple Rain Party, hosted by Fashion for the Mini. But the Fall Ball, hosted by Prima Donna Plays, is coming up soon. I'm gonna need a dress for that too. I have this black and gold fabric. It's kind of fancy. It's a cotton with a metallic print, so it's actually pretty easy to work with. We made our simple dress. Let's cut a large circle by folding it into a triangle and then cutting a wedge type of shape. And let's cut a 5 by 1.5 inch strip for a waistband. Take the circle and let's fold it so that one side is shorter than the other by probably about that much. Then fold it in half and in half again. Cut off the top at a curve, unfold it. So now you can see we have a circle with a hole cut out closer to one end. Fold it in half, cut down the fold, stopping at the circle cutout. It's kind of like the Mr. Incredible sign. Go to that small center circle and we're gonna sew a loose stitch going around the edge so we can pull to gather. You know what? Before I get this all ruffly, we should go ahead and hem that bottom edge. So I fold it over and iron it down, sew it down with a straight stitch. So we have a clean edge. Then continue to gather until it is about the same length as the waistband. Fold the waistband in half, line up the raw edges with the raw edges of the skirt. I use pins to hold it in place, sew it down using a straight stitch. Fold up the waistband and fold down the seam allowance. Take the ends, match them up so the good sides are facing each other. I'm gonna sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance, stopping about here so the top is left open. Go to the top and we're gonna fold over one of those edges about 1/2 inch. Sew on Velcro, sew the other side of the Velcro to the other side with a raw edge to make an asymmetrical skirt for another easy party look. It's long in the back and short in the front. Here's an idea if you want something a little more casual for fall. Let's go ahead and cut our rectangle out of this plaid. I normally cut a 5 by 6 inch rectangle for an original doll. However, I'm going to try to do this for a curvy, so I did 5 by 7.25. And I cut a long 1 inch strip. Fold over both sides 1/4 inch, then fold it in half and iron flat. Sew 2 straight lines going all the way down, cut it in half for straps. After sewing the zigzag around the edge of the large rectangle, take the straps, place them about 1 inch apart in the center, sew them down, then flip the straps up, fold over that top edge, and hem it. Continue everything else just as before, hemming the bottom, then the sides. Add the Velcro, place it on the doll inside out so you can sew down the other ends of the straps tailor it to the body to make a little dress with straps. If you put a white t-shirt underneath, it makes a great look for fall. There is so much we can do with this design. We can even use it to make a costume. I made a dress in cream, pinch and gather it at the bust to make a sweetheart top, make a circle skirt with a 2.5 by 5 inch rectangle for the waistband. I zigzagged the edges and we're gonna leave them a little tattered. I cut a half circle out of cream, fold over the bottom edge, and hem it. I want to hem this now too. Okay, we're just gonna do it. Once everything has been hemmed, sew a line across the top edge to gather to the length of the folded over waistband. With the good sides facing up, take the waistband, lay it upside down, matching up the raw edges of both skirts, making sure the wider skirt is on top. When doing my gathering, I also make sure that it's a little more flat on the ends. That'll make it easier when it's time to flip it over and sew on the Velcro. Sew a straight line going across the top, flip it up to see the waistband. Go ahead and sew the edges of the plaid skirt together, about 1/2 inch, leaving an opening. That's wide enough for the doll to fit into. Then let's sew the white layer or the cream underlayer. Fold over one of the back edges about 1/2 inch, sew on Velcro, add the other piece to the other side, use embroidery floss to make laces going down the front that can be tied to look like a corset. Cut 3-inch squares of fabric, zigzag the edges, fold over the top and bottom about 1/4 inch, take 1/8 elastic, place it underneath, and you're going to sew a straight line across, being careful not to hit the elastic. Repeat for both ends, and I like to stitch across one of the sides of the elastic so it doesn't come out. Then we're going to fold it in half and pull the elastic together, then sew a straight line going all the way down. Trim off the excess, flip it inside out to make sleeves. I added the skirt and pinned a part of it up. Add our witch hat from YouTube Live for a last-minute costume idea. Wow, I think I'm ready for several events in the Dollstagram community. Monday for Dolls Halloween theme hosted by Bella Doll. This is like, what, my 4th witch costume? And when Halloween is over, remove the skirt and hat, and we have a nice little cream dress. Our curvy friends got a dress for fall that makes 3 looks. Here is our simple test run dress that makes 4. We added a plaid skirt to jazz it up that makes look number 5. We made the dress longer with a different neckline for look number 6. Add a bow for look number 7, a train for look number 8, and an asymmetrical skirt for the fall ball hosted by Prima Donna Plays for look number 9. Thank you for joining us while we made a few dresses without a pattern. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell and follow us on Instagram at MyFroggyStuff and the Frog Vlog. And we will see you next time. Bye!